So first thing we're going to do is called print. Print is always followed by bracket. So print all small. Python is case sensitive. So lowercase, uppercase mean different in Python. Comments are like text which is meant for us, for human beings to read, not for computer. Let's say today you write a logic, and tomorrow you might forget what you did yesterday, right? It's a good practice to put some comment around the text so that whether you come back after some time or some days, or your colleagues come back to your code, they will know what you have done. In Python, we write using hash. So hash print, here you can write whatever, and this whatever is for us, not for computer. So I say print is an inbuilt function. The inbuilt function means they are functions which comes with installation of Python. Okay. So functions are block of code. Okay. So it's like few lines of code, you give it a name. Just like we all have a name, because when we call out the name, we know whom we are talking to. Print is a simple name, but the whole logic is written somewhere else. They say that you have to have a simple bracket open and close. The bracket open and close. So print is an inbuilt function which displays the content on the screen. So it is used to display the content onto the screen. Okay. So there are two types of content that it takes. One type is evaluation. So if I say 5 plus 6 into 4. So 5 plus 6 into 4 will be 24 plus 5, 29, right? BODMAS rule. So it will evaluate it to 29. This is my file name is P18. I go right click on P18, I run it. Okay, so if I write one more program, one more line here, okay. Okay, now you see what I have done. I've put in a quotation. Now see the difference. Okay, so if you put anything in the quotation, it will be printed as it is. Now you see in editors means any editor, PyCharm or VS Code. When you run the program, all the lines of code will execute. Okay? Even if I'm on the 1000th line, all the 999 lines will be executed before you execute the 1000th line. Print, okay, is a function which will display the content on the screen, and content can be given to print in two ways. One, where you're asking Python to evaluate. And here I'm asking to print as it is. I'm not asking it to evaluate. And in Python, there is no difference between single quotation or double quotation. Even if I give in single quotation, it means the same. But whatever you start with, same thing you have to end with. So I cannot start with single quotation and end with double quotation. You can say here print like 5 plus 6 into 4. I say equal to. So 5 plus 6 into 4 space equal to, I have given in quotation. And then I am giving non-quotation values. When you run them, okay, so you see quotation value is printed as it is, and non-quotation value is evaluated. This space is coming because of this comma. So now, okay, you can have quoted, unquoted, quoted, unquoted, quoted, unquoted, multiple values in Python. Okay, so I can say something like this. Okay, print, then I will say 4 into 7 maybe equal to 4 into 7, then 6 into 5 equal to comma 6 into 5. So quoted text as it is, evaluation, comma. Again, each of these are separated by comma. Quoted, non-quoted, comma. Non-quoted, quoted, comma. Right? Quoted, comma, non-quoted. So this is how you can add multiple such values in print. Okay, so this is one thing. Now see here, okay, what I'm using, these are called as constants, right? 5, 6, 4. So when you say 5, it will remain 5 always. Now let's say, okay, I am writing multiples of, let's say, 3. Okay, table of 3, right? So in table of 3, first it is 3 into 1, then it is 3 into 2, then it is 3 into 3, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I write this and then I tell you, no, replace this 3 multiple table with 5.
Okay.
So you have done 10 such print statement. Now you have to go and change all the 10 print statements, right?
Yeah.
So to avoid that, what we do is we use variables. We use variables to handle values. Okay, in any programming language for that matter. A equal to, let's say, 5. Okay. B equal to 6. C equal to 4. Okay. And now I will say here A plus B into C. So advantage is, okay, you get 29, okay, but if I say, no, change 5 to 15. So you will only change here
Oh,
at
okay.
one place where you're assigning the value.
The value.
Like this is like in
Okay.
maths we say, right? Let's
Yeah.
take x equal to 20. Let's take x equal to 35. Let's say x equal to 40. So
Yeah.
you have to say that at one place, but everywhere else you're using x will get changed, right? I can
Yes.
use this here also. Let's say a into c. So now since I have changed a to 15, here also it will be 15. Here also it will be 15 only.
Yes.
So that's why we always use variables.
Variables. Okay.
Okay, so this a is a variable.
Yeah. Okay.
A is a variable which can take any value.
Let's continue. So you use variables every time basically as a general habit?
Yes, every
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Okay, because assignment happens one, but you'll be using it multiple places, right?
Yeah.
So let's say when you book a flight ticket, right? And you are on, let's say, makemytrip.com, and on the makemytrip.com you add date, from date to date, from airport, destination airport. Now all these are variables, right? Because same website you are going to use, I'm going to use, everybody is going to use it, right?
Yeah.
Our travel date, our travel destination will be different.
Yes.
So if you fix it, then you can't use it, right? So they'll keep it as variable so that whatever value you give, that goes into the airport names. So
Correct.
always, all the value. Okay, there's some situation like when you talk about pi value. Now pi is a constant, right?
Yeah.
Pi value is constant. You have acceleration due to gravity. Now these are values which are constant, need not be given in a variable. You can still give it, but other values can change. Age can change. Name can change. Airport can change. So
Yeah.
that's where we use variables. Now these variables, okay, should start with an alphabet.
Oh,
Alphabet means A to Z.
okay. Okay. That's how you assign a variable.
Yes. It should
Okay.
start with this, but it can also have, okay,
So basically that's the syntax for assigning a variable.
correct,
Okay.
have numbers and underscore.
You can also have numbers and okay.
So you can say here, instead of C, you can say num underscore 3. Instead of C, you can say num underscore 3.
Why do you give just out of curiosity, why do you give underscore and a number in a variable instead of just giving just a alphabet?
Okay. But let's say you want to write something like this, first number, right? So that it becomes easy to read, you will say first underscore number. Otherwise, if you had to say something like first number, right? People might find it people might struggle to read this as first number. You cannot use any other character. You can't use dot, space. You can't use it.
Okay. Okay.
You can only Python allows only alphabet, number, and underscore.
Okay.
But your number and underscore cannot be the first character. First character has to be an alphabet only.
Okay.
Can be uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. And since it is case sensitive, uppercase, lowercase will mean different.
Okay.
So general practice is we write constant with capital alphabet. For example, if I have to declare pi, right? I can say pi equal to 3.24 or something.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Generally, that's the practice. But for Python doesn't matter. I can say team name is Sunrisers Hyderabad, SRH.
Okay.
Now, if you think that in your entire program, team name has to be SRH only, okay, it cannot be anything else. Then you can declare team name SRH. Now, when I said here, any value, right? Handle any values. So, what are different types of values? In Python, there are 5 basic values. Okay, these are your int, which we call as integer, your float, your complex. Okay, these are called 5 basic values or data type. 5, okay, basic data types we call them. Data types are basically the type of data that you're going to handle.
Correct.
Okay, we will talk about 5 basic, and there are advanced one which we will do maybe after a few classes.
Okay.
Integer, float, complex, bool, which is for boolean, and then you have str for string.
Right.
Okay, so integer are numbers without decimal point.
Correct.
Float, number
with
decimal point. Like 5.0 is also.
Yeah.
Complex are square root of negative numbers.
Square root of negative numbers. Okay.
Okay, only true and false you will handle with Boolean values. Okay,
Yeah.
so it has just 2 values. Then string is for text. Any text data we use string.
String. Correct.
So let's see this. So let's say if I declare a variable 1 equal to 55. I say variable 1 equal to 55. Okay. Now I want to see. Okay. So type is another. So now we are doing our second function type.
Yeah.
We are doing our second function type. Now this type will tell us the data type of the variable. So I'll say type of var1. Okay, so type of var1, again lowercase function. Okay, so var1 it should say int. Now it tells int, but how do I see it in the screen? I have to print it onto the screen, correct? Print it, you use print function. So see here we have 2 functions. We have type,
yeah,
and
print.
we have print. So
Okay.
type is the one that is giving us the data type, and print is a function which is giving us, which is printing the content onto the screen. So let's run this and see. So here we are using 2 functions, type and print, correct?
Yeah.
So when you have multiple functions, first the innermost function is run. So in this case, the innermost function is type.
Yeah.
The first type is run. So type or give us the, say it is int.
Int.
And then print is printing it, okay, onto the screen. So type tells us that it is class int. Everything in Python is treated as class and object. So for now, assume class as a type. So it is too early to talk about class. Okay, we'll talk about class later. But for now, you assume that class is like a group. Okay, so it's like group called integer, group called float.
Sure.
Similarly, if I go and now run this var1, okay, and I say 55.0. When you run it, you see it says float.
Class
Why
of
it says float? Because it is a
decimal.
yes. Now, if I put same thing in quotation, it is called string. Strings are represented in quotation. Strings are represented in this single quote or double quote.
Yeah.
But Python also has triple quote. See, there is no difference between single and double.
Okay.
There is no difference between triple quotes.
Okay.
But there is difference between this group and this group. The difference between first group and second group we'll talk about later.
Okay.
Next, okay, I will say here true. So you have true and false. Here you have to give in this case. The first character has to be uppercase and second, third. The rest of the characters will be lowercase.
Okay.
If I have to give true, I have to give T capital and rest small.
Okay.
If I have to give false, I have to give F capital and rest small. If I give any other spelling, then it should be treated as a string, not as a Boolean value. So see, it is this one we did not put in quotation.
Yeah.
But still it's fine because we want it to be Boolean. If I give something else, okay, let's say, if I give 3 or all capital, okay. So see, PyCharm is already giving red line. Red line means it is error.
Yeah.
Name error. True is
Okay.
not defined. Did you mean true? So Python error messages are also very helpful.
It's clearly saying you meant this for that.
Yes. So now if I put it in quotation, then it's fine. Okay. And then the type would be string. But
Okay.
if I give this in, T capital and rest small, now it says Boolean. Now
Yeah.
coming to our fifth one, the complex thing, right? Okay, we say 55J. J is square root of -1. What would be J square? J is square root of -1. So J square would be -1, correct?
Yeah.
So if I say print 5J into 5J, what do you think the value would be? So 5 into 5 is 25.
Yeah.
So 5J into 5J is 25J square. 25 and J square is -1. So it would become -25.
Oh, okay. Okay.
-25. But since we started with complex, we are getting now what? Integer value, correct?
Yeah.
So for example, if I say 3.3 plus 6.7, what is 3.3 plus 6.7? 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But since we started with float, we have to end with float, right? So we will say 10.0, right?
Yeah.
Because we started with float, so we end with float. So we say 10.0. Here we started with complex and we are ending up with integer. We have to end with complex. So we'll
Yeah.
say plus 0J. Let's do an example. Okay. So we say write a program to calculate area and perimeter of a circle when radius is given. So it says radius is given. So we'll say radius equal to 5. Calculate area.
Mhm.
Area of a circle is pi r square. 3.14 into pi r, right? R is
Yeah.
5. Square means r into r, right?
Correct.
Pi r square. Then perimeter. Perimeter, or we call circumference, right? We say circumference. Okay. We don't say perimeter in circle, we say circumference. So circumference equal to 2 pi r. 2 into pi into R. Now I can say print area equal to area, and so when you run it, you see area is 78.5 and circumference is 31.40000. And we'll see tomorrow how to handle the decimal point and things like that. I'll give you an assignment. Write a program to calculate area and perimeter of a rectangle when their sides, length and breadth given, right? Length and breadth are given. So area is length into breadth, perimeter is 2 into length plus breadth. So we said that let's take radius equal to 5. One way that we did earlier was we printed it using something like this. We said circumference respectively, right? So now when we run this program, okay, this is what you get, right? So, okay, so this is one way, okay, we use quoted text and unquoted variable, quoted text variable, okay. And sometimes when you personally, okay, when it is more than 2, right, I kind of feel difficult, to manage this closing, opening, closing, opening.
Yeah.
Have option here where you don't have to close the open and close multiple times. You can do it in just one quotation. So how do we do that? So for that we use what is called as F string, format string.
Okay.
F string, okay, which is used for format string. So we do print, we do quotation, but before quotation you put F. Okay, that's how Python knows that you are going to format the string.
Okay.
Okay, and then what we do is we will copy this and paste it here. Now, okay, now there are 3 variables here, right? This is a variable. So I'm going to replace this with variable. I'm going to replace this with the variable. I'm going to replace this with variable. Now, when you run it, okay, Python would not be able to know whether this is a variable or quoted text.
Correct.
So we have to indicate it somehow. Right? We have to somehow indicate that, Python, this is a variable. Don't treat it as a text. So we do it using curly bracket. Okay, we do it using curly bracket. We do it using curly bracket. Now, when we put this value, okay, or this variable in curly bracket, but within the quotation, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So we know that, okay, it is, these are variables. So now when you run it, you see, you get exactly same output. Okay, so this is how F string or format string is used. So, this is convenient. I felt convenient when you have more than multiple variables to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's one more thing to it. Now you see here, okay, circumference is coming like 31.4000002.
Yeah.
We don't deal with so many decimal places, right?
Right.
So when you use format string, okay, within these curly bracket, you can even define the format in which you want to print. So we can do it by putting a colon here. Left of colon indicates the variable that you want to use, and right of colon, okay, we need to give the formatting part. So always, and we will see one more example of formatting string. So colon separates variable from the formatting. So here I'll go and say 0.2f. So when I say 0.2f means the point is decimal. Okay, I'm saying after decimal, I need 2 variables in this float value.
Okay.
So now when you run it, see, this is formatted to 2.
Okay.
You can format to 1, you can format to 0, you can format to 5, you can define whatever value you want, it will get formatted. Not only with float, you can even format string. So let's take an example, okay? I'm going to declare 3 variables, and you can declare variables in one line. Okay, so something like this. So you can say player, comma, country, comma, position, let's say. And I say Rohit, comma, India, comma, captain. And then I go here and I say something like this. Okay, if player plays cricket for country as
captain.
So I wanted to put some more text here as in the team as, okay, in the team as, say, captain. Pause. Okay, so now when you run it, it says, okay, player Rohit plays cricket for India in the team as captain. Now I'll have one more set of player. So let's say I call this something like,
So these are all variables, right?
yes, they're all variables. Okay, and now let's run it. So what happens, because this variable, okay, has a bigger names, right? So what happened? Everything moved to the right, right? Everything moved to the right. But let's say I want to print player below player, which is obviously there. The place should also be below place. Okay. In the team should also be below in the team.
Okay.
So how do I do that?
Give space.
Yes. So I need to define fixed number of spaces for these variables.
Yeah.
So I'll say that I'm going to assign 10 spaces to the name, no matter what the size of the name be. Okay. So, so again, okay, we have these variables here. So to do formatting, you put colon, right? So colon, that means I want to format it. And then I will say 10. Now, so fine, you said colon 10. Now, Rohit is only 5-letter word.
Yeah.
Which all spaces in those 10 spaces will Rohit take? Okay, so we have something called as alignment. Left alignment, right alignment, center alignment. Left alignment means values will take your left spaces, like for example 10. So the value will take leftmost 5 spaces and right 5 spaces will be left blank. Okay, so by default anyway, if you don't mention it, it is left alignment only, but you can mention it by using this arrow key. This is less than, right? So less than indicates go left. It's like arrow going towards left. Let's say for country, I'll define 12 spaces. So I'll say colon, and I will say go right, indicating that we want to have it on the right side. Okay, so the values will be on the right side and blank spaces will be on the left side, right alignment. And you want to do central alignment. So you have this arrow key which says go up, right? Which is on your 6 keyboard.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'll say here 15, let's say. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this entire stuff and paste it here. So see, the name got left aligned, team name got right aligned, and okay. So at the end, you won't be able to notice. So what I'll do is we will put this as center aligned, and this will make it as right aligned. So see here, you have spaces on both the sides.
Center aligned. Okay.
Center aligned. Now, in case you have odd number of blank spaces, left side will have less number and right side will have more number. That means if you have 7 blank spaces, 3 will be on the left side, 4 will be on the right side. But if there are 8, then it will be equally 4 on both the sides. Now we'll talk something about what we call a escape sequence. Okay. Now escape sequence in Python is used to handle special characters. So how I remember is that escape sequence is something that gives or takes away power. It will give you special power or take away power from power from or to a single character. So escape sequence is applied over a single character. If I write a print something like this, hello, is this your new house? Escape sequence, okay, is this. This is your escape sequence. So this is called backward slash. It's falling behind, right? It's like as if the stick is falling behind. So we call this as escape sequence. Now, if I put a backward slash before n, see PyCharm has already changed the color to blue. It's no longer green. So no longer it's a normal character. And now when you run it, see what happened? Line broke, isn't it? So slash n is used to insert a line in your text.
Okay.
This is all we used within print, within quotation. Okay, not within print, within quotation slash n is used.
Slash n, not just backslash.
So, so backslash is a way, because there are a few more backslash that we'll talk about.
Okay.
Okay, there are a few more backslash we'll talk about. But yes, so backslash is the key, but on which character you apply, that's the important thing. If I take this same stuff, and if I delete from here, and this T you see, I put a backslash on T. Now it'll give you tab number of spaces. See, T got converted into tab number of spaces. By default, it is 4 spaces. Okay, but you can always go to your operating system settings and you can change it. By default, it comes with 4 spaces. The moment the tab key that you press, right, on the laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like it gives you that number of spaces.
Yeah. Okay.
Now let's say I want to print something like this. I want to say, what's your name? I want to print like this. Now, if I print using double quotation, then it's fine. But let's say I want to use single quotation for some reason. Okay, I want to use single quotation. Now, in this case, you see, double quotation or single quotation has the power. What is the power of single and double quotation here?
It just prints the whole thing, right?
To print the text, to print a string, right? String value. That's the power of quotation.
Yes.
Now, when you put single quotation, that means we are looking for closing single quotation, right? Next quotation should be a closing quotation, single quotation. So this, which is supposed to be our apostrophe, is treated as a closing quotation, right? That's why it's giving you error. Because we gave single quotation, the next single quotation has to be for closing the quotation. So in this case, the single quotation in this case and double quotation in line number 9, they have a special power, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to use this quotation as a closing quotation. So you take away, you say that, no, this is not a special quotation. This is a normal quotation. You say, okay, if it is normal, then add backslash. So now you're taking away the power. Now when you run it, you see, it is appearing as a apostrophe, but no longer as a closing quotation. And backslash is not printed. Now let's say I want to print something like this. Slash is for new line. I want to print something like this. So now if I print, okay, here, obviously, slash n will not be printed. Instead of slash n, what happened? We got a blank line.
We got a space. Okay.
Right? And the space is because this space.
That space. Okay.
So this is because of the new line. And then you have a space is for new line, right? Got printed here. But no, I want to print something like this. So here, this backslash is giving power, right? Now, how do I take away power from backslash? Giving one more backslash. So now what happened? Because see, backslash works only for one character, right? Never for more than one character. So when you give this backslash will look for next character. So these two together will form one character. And now n is independent. N does not have to go with any backslash. Now let's say I want to print one more, something like slash n will print slash n in Python. Let's say I want to print something like this. Then what will I do? I will say print. Okay. I'll copy this line here. So to print slash n, I know I need to give backward slash n. How do I print double slash n? Because these two slash will make it one and n is printed as it, right?
Yeah.
So how do I make it two slash here? If I add one more, then what happens? These two together becomes one backslash, correct? And now your backslash n will give a new line, which we don't want. So we need to give one more backslash. These two together, these two backslash will become one, and these two will become one. So now you have two backslash. So if you want to give 5 backslashes, then you give 10 actually. So 2 together becomes 1, 2 together becomes 1. So 10 together will become 5 backslash. Okay, so this is how you handle escape sequence in Python. Now we saw how to break a line. Now I want to join two lines, which means, okay, if I say print hello and I say print how are you. Now print by default has a new line. That's why when we run it, hello and how are you will be printed in two different lines, not in same line, right? But I want to use two different print statement, but I want to print these two statements in one single statement. We need to remove that default slash n, correct?
Yeah.
Every print has a default slash n at the end. So when you say hello quotation close and bracket close, it actually prints, goes to the next line. That's why you see after printing how are you,
Yeah.
it's a blank line here. Because there is always a slash n which is at the end of print, which is not seen.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's by default. We cannot see it.
Yes. But here in this case, for hello, we need to delete that, isn't it?
Correct.
So if you can't see it, how can you delete it?
Yeah.
So we have to first make it visible. So we get that new line, okay, using what we call an end command, end, E-N-D.
Okay.
So by default, every print has end equal to slash n.
Yeah.
Okay, this is by default added to all print statement. Now you can go and delete it. Now it is visible, right? Now we can delete the backslash n.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you want to give space between hello and how, you give a space here. Now you run it. It is a one single state. Okay. So this is how you can club two print output from two print statement into one single line.